Member for Gwoja.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ora, Nintu Palya, Nyutyo Maipa, Jalana Nyanyi. I stand here today, starting off my speech with the greeting words from the Gwoja electorate, the languages of my communities, my families, my friends, words that have been spoken since the first suns rose across these ancient lands. These languages are still with us today in the electorate of Gwoja. They are strong, they are resilient, they are powerful. Madam Speaker, I wish to acknowledge that we meet on the land of the mighty Larrakia, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and the emerging generations to come. I also wish to acknowledge the nations from Gwoja: Aranda, Western Aranda, Pitjantjatjara, the Pintabee Luritja, Walpuri, Gurindji, Mudburra, Bilinya, Narinjarima, and the Yankajara and Nunanjara lands surrounding the great electorate of Gwoja. Madam Speaker, I am a man whose spirit has come from the bush, a man who has been brought up to respect my community and my culture, a man who has been raised to stand up and fight the injustices. I stand here today as the re-elected member for Gwoja, a role that I am honoured and humbled to continue, a role that I will ensure each and every day the good people of Gwoja are represented and heard. Madam Speaker, the ninti seeds I wear around my neck have been made by my cousin as a reminder of where I come from, who I am. I can still smell the fresh smoke from the irons that have pierced through each ninti seed, carving a story of resilience of my people. I wish to thank my cousin, Kukala MacDonald, for this amazing gift she has given me. Madam Speaker, being the member for Gwoja is a role that I take seriously, a role that will ensure that I can stand up and be the voice for thousands of Territorians who need to be heard. The electorate of Gwoja, the second largest electorate to Barkly. But Gwoja, so big, so diverse, so beautiful. A place of love, of hope, of strength, of culture, of energy. Gwoja is a place where our ancestors are honoured, our culture is continued. It's a place where stars are born. From Uluru, the heart of this nation, to the home of the land rights movements, we are Gwoja. From Amambiji to Arayonga, to Dagaragu, to Haas Bluff, Hermansburg and Durry, Amanpa, Kalgorinji, Kurukujara, Kintor, Lajamanu, Laramba, Mount Liebig, Murujulu, Nyurupi, Bupanya, Rawampi, Wallace Rockhole, Wallara, Yarralin, Yullamu, Yundamu, Timber Creek, Mengan, and the surrounding homelands. They are communities of passion, loving and resilient people. Communities I will always stand up for and make sure they are heard and never forgotten. Madam Speaker, I could not stand here as the proud member for Gwoja if it weren't for the kindness, generosity and encouragement of many. I am strong, connected and here because of the hundreds of people who have guided me, mentored me and supported me. Without the people of Gwoja and the wider territory who share my vision for our home, I would not be here today. I particularly thank my constituents, my kinship families, my grandparents, my fathers, mothers, aunts, uncles, cousins, and my children, who inspire and encourage me every day to be proud of who I am and where I come from. I want to thank every person who came out during the election campaign and helped. The roads were long and the nights were dark, but the company was always warm and empowering. the flickering flames of the nighttime fires, and the stories from our families was greatly appreciated. Madam Speaker, the stories, the legends, the laughs, they were greatly appreciated, and they are forever enshrined into my memory. They are stories and memories that will be handed down and shared in hope of the brightening days ahead. Elections are always met with emotions and challenges, but with them they bring change. I, first of all, would like to acknowledge the changes this election has delivered for the people of the Northern Territory. I wish the CLP well, and I congratulate them on their victory forming the 15th government here in the Northern Territory. I want to extend that acknowledgement and congratulations to all members of the Legislative Assembly, to the Northern Territory Greens and to our independent family who have joined us in this chamber. I also want to take the moment, Madam Speaker, to acknowledge the former members of the 14th Assembly who are not with us any longer, and thank them for their roles, for their passions and for their energy over the 14th Assembly as we deliberated, debated and worked through important reform. The road ahead will be challenging, will be testing and will be met with a raft of emotions. And like the Territory's roads, our journeys in this place will be differing. For some, like the urban members, the roads will be smooth and short. And for others, like the bush members, it may be long and corrugated. However, the destination should be the same: a better, stronger Territory for everyone. As this journey starts for some, I wish them well. For others, like myself, I say welcome back. We continue to fight for things that we love and believe in, Madam Speaker. And I believe in our remote communities, and I believe in the Territory Labor Party. Over the next 4 years, my journey will be focusing on and representing the bush and what needs to be done to deliver fairness and equality for all Territorians, no matter where they live or the colour of their skin. Madam Speaker, my political journey has been one of great honour and privilege. I have been the member for Namatjira, the electorate named after Albert Namatjira, the first Aboriginal Australian to be awarded Australian citizenship. I have been and continue to be the member for Gwoja, named after Jungarai Gwoja, the first Aboriginal person to be featured on an Australian stamp. He's also the gentleman on the Australian $2 coin. I've been the Deputy Speaker, I've been the Speaker, I've been the Chairman of committees. I've then gone on to be a Minister, the Attorney General, the Leader of Government Business, and then a loyal Deputy Chief Minister to the amazing Eva Lawler. I've had enormous opportunities, and for that I say thank you. These are opportunities that the Territory affords every person, and I'm thankful to call the Territory home. As I said earlier, elections deliver change, and from that change we must learn. Madam Speaker, as we transition into opposition, I am mindful and respectful of the election result. I thank the many hundreds of public servants who I've had the opportunity to work with over my time as a Speaker, as a Minister and as an Attorney General. As I look over the last 8 years Labor has been in government, I am reminded of many things. Things, Madam Speaker, that I have not been proud or I have not supported, and I have apprehensively supported. And others I am eternally proud and grateful for having the opportunity to be part of. Because I know that many lives have been empowered, enriched and improved because of a number of our reforms. Madam Speaker, I am proud to have delivered reform. I am proud to have been the Northern Territory's Attorney General who raised the age of criminal responsibility because it was the right thing to do. Because children who cannot see above the courtroom docks belong on country, not courtrooms. I was proud of repealing mandatory sentencing because we know it wasn't deterring anyone and jailing was failing. I'm proud to have returned the discretion back to the judiciary. I am proud, as an Aboriginal gay man, to have led the Northern Territory's anti-discrimination reform to ensure that people are protected at every stage of their life, regardless of their colour, race, sexuality, occupation or gender. I am proud to have delivered the Territory's anti-discrimination reforms so that Aboriginal people living in remote communities are not turned away from their school if it is a face-based school or if they are an adult and want to teach in that school. I am proud of the reform, Madam Speaker, to bring in law and justice groups and community courts in the Northern Territory. Madam Speaker, reforming the Northern Territory's domestic and family violence, sexual violence laws to ensure greater protections for women and children was an extremely proud moment for me. Domestic violence is real. Domestic violence is a pandemic that is destroying lives, dividing communities, and holding back a better, brighter future for all. Madam Speaker, we're here today hearing that this is something that everyone who has spoken today is passionate about. This Parliament has heard that another woman has joined the long list of women who have been taken due to domestic violence. This woman was a constituent. She's my kinship family, and she has joined that list. When will it stop? Madam Speaker, we do need needs-based funding, and we need it now. We cannot be told that the Commonwealth doesn't have the money or they don't want to upset another jurisdiction. I will do whatever it takes, Madam Speaker. I'll jump on the plane with the Chief Minister as an act of bipartisanship to call on the Commonwealth to fund us what we need to overcome this. I will push for this Parliament to come together, whether we need to petition or do motions or even a remonstrance, if I have to, because this is one of the single biggest issues which is destroying the Northern Territory. Madam Speaker, we owe it to our families, to our communities, and to our children who, in these instances, sometimes lose a parent. Madam Speaker, this is something that we must all continue to come together as a Parliament to call out. And I mean every word, Chief Minister, when I say I am heartened that you have honoured the commitment for additional funding here in the Northern Territory for domestic and family violence. This is money that needs to go to the front line. I want to acknowledge our amazing domestic and family violence sector here in the Northern Territory. From the amazing services of the women's shelters, such as Waska in Alice Springs, Dawn House here, and all of the safe houses across the Northern Territory's remote and regional areas. The way we tackle domestic and family violence is, as we have heard, working together and funding the front line. Madam Speaker, I am also proud that as a housing minister, working alongside the opposition leader, Minister Yubo, we were able to deliver more houses in a single year than any other government in the history of the Northern Territory. We sealed more roads than ever before. And this is a timely reminder that housing is a social determinant of health, of education, of tackling and resolving the issues we face in the Northern Territory. These are just some of the life-changing reforms that I have been fortunate enough to be involved in delivering. And I want to take the opportunity to thank the people, the organisations and the community groups and the families who shared their stories and were involved in the important work in reforming these areas. There is still so much to do in this great territory we call home. And I'll continue to work across the community and sectors to hear about the issues, concerns, and the ideas that drive real and meaningful change. As I reflect on the 2024 election result, I know, Madam Speaker, that we parted ways with many people who had been with us for many years. People who might not have been able to bring themselves to vote for the CLP, but equally didn't feel empowered or able to vote for the great Australian Labor Party. And for that, I am sorry. I am sorry that you felt you could not stay with us. I am sorry that we parted ways with you. But there is opportunity and there is growth, and we will come back and work together. The days, weeks and months following our defeat have been hazy, and as the dust settles, we begin our work to refocus, regroup and rebuild. Territory Labor has been sent a clear message, and we need to hear it and act on it. When it comes to those important issues like the environment, like water and the economy, we've heard we need to be stronger and do more. And that's what we'll do. We will do more. Economic development is important, but so is our environment. There are no jobs on a dead planet, and time is running out to act and respond. Our territory is home to some of the world's most sacred and spiritual places. It's home to breathtaking natural wonders that have flourished for thousands of years because of our natural environment, because they have been uninterrupted. We have been known and celebrated around the world for these natural treasures. They're nature's territory. And we must do all we can to preserve that for future generations. Madam Speaker, climate change is real, and we're already seeing the impacts of a changing climate. All parties, even my own, must do more to fight climate change and transition to renewable green energy. Madam Speaker, most people know I'm a progressive person, and I'm not ashamed of that. This election has shown us that progressive politics is very much alive and well here in the Northern Territory. And if Territory Labor wants to stand a fighting chance in 2028, then we must realign back to our position. We must learn from this election and let it be a guide to enable us the transformation. As the great Gough Whitlam once said, the Labor Party is the party of reform, and without it, we are nothing. For me, this quote is still true and relevant today. Our party will always deliver or support reform where it improves, empowers and transforms the lives of many. And so our work begins, so does our reform. With that in mind, I will always consider legislation or reform that is put before this Assembly, and where we feel it improves conditions and helps lift people up, we will support it. I may not be standing in this chamber today as a Territory Minister, but I do stand here as the fierce member for Gwoja, as a member of the Legislative Assembly, as a Shadow Minister for Corrections, Racing, Housing, Local Government, Community Development, Lands, Planning and the Environment, Education and Training, Early Education, Public Service, Children and Families, Child Protection, Prevention of Domestic and Family Violence, and as the Northern Territory Shadow Attorney General. Madam Speaker, I do look forward to continuing to connect with our community, with our stakeholders and with my fellow parliamentarians to ensure that we do hold this government to account on all of their election commitments and promises. Madam Speaker, as I've said, I am a proud Territorian and I will never talk the Territory down. I will never talk the bush down. I will never talk Central Australia down. Central Australia, for those who have joined the Legislative Assembly and have not yet had the opportunity to get down there, is a land of enchantment. It is a land of magic. It is a land of opportunity. It is the land my family have called home for thousands of years. I conclude my time by repeating words I said during my first maiden speech in 2016. It is a dream of mine that on my last day, during my last speech ever in this chamber, I will be able to stand tall and proud and talk about the positive difference I have made for the people of Gwoja, then Namatjira, and the Greater Territory. By then, my wish will be simple and my job will be done. Until then, I remain committed to the people of the Northern Territory, to the people of the bush, to ensure that the voices of Territorians are recognised and heard and treated with dignity and respect. Madam Speaker, I am very honoured and happy to be the fierce member for Gwoja, a passionate and vocal advocate for our remote communities, for progressive policy that takes the Territory forward. And I will always remind this chamber, Madam Speaker, that my communities, my electorate and my constituents will always be strong, black and deadly. Thank you.